in the noisiest place on the planet. And that's the reason why I'm not a morning person. I would love to get up in the morning and have my cup of coffee and do my videos like this, but I can't. Because I have all possible noise I can possibly imagine. Somebody called me crazy because I have a spider as a pet. But there are also people who multiply themselves and leave their children under my balcony on the playground. And they go shopping while their children are screaming their lungs out for 20 minutes straight. If I'm crazy, I'm not crazy because I have a spider. I'm crazy because I live in this city. Every time when I hear the noise that might come closer, it's a noise of the ambulance that likes to pass by under my apartment. Every time I tell to myself, someday I'm gonna live in Finland. Because I assume there is quiet and silence that I desperately need. Hello once again. What I'm having here in my hands is a collection of art tiles that I've created several days ago. My first idea was that I'm gonna do it in front of the camera, like this. But then quickly I realized that I have to do this all by myself, in silence. So I prepared a space and I created some silence, and weirdly enough, everything was really quiet, even my neighbors. And I had to put my phone on the airplane mode, and I had to be undisturbed fully. And the only thing that I was able to have with me was a streaming of a storm that was happening in Arizona a couple of days ago. It was a monsoon, and there was one storm chaser that was streaming the chasing of that storm. That was in the background. That was on my computer on silent, so I didn't hear what they were talking about in the car or on the chat. I was just watching the storm. And I created 33 tiles. And I started painting them. And very quickly I realized that I'm actually tuned into that storm. And since we just met, I have to tell you that I have a thing for storms. Last year I was obsessed with hurricanes and tornadoes. This year I'm not obsessed, but I'm still tuned in, very much so. And it was very organic and very easy for me to tune into that storm. And through that storm, all these tiles came out to be. The idea for each tile, for the imagery and for the meaning or messages or portals that opened up as a result of creating the imagery, came one by one as if they were just patiently waiting for somebody to create space in those canvases so that the imagery and the meanings can just transfer themselves. As I finished painting them, after several hours, I don't even know how much time has passed because time just passed. I went to my computer and I looked at that stream, and I decided to turn on the volume to hear what's going on and the sound of the rain falling on the car. And the streamer just said, "Oh, I'm about to finish this stream very soon because I have to deal with the flooding in my backyard." So basically I finished painting these tiles at the time when the stream was also finishing. And usually I never really talk to the to the storm chasers and all these streams. Storm chasers, I do watch all of you. But I rarely interact with anybody. But this time around, because there was this one particular tile that came out, I had to go to the chat and thank for the streaming, because one of the facts is that all of these tiles, they wouldn't come to be unless there would be that somebody who turned on the camera and decided to stream the rain to the rest of the planet. And I'm not even in the US, I'm not in Arizona, I'm on a completely other side of the planet. But thanks to that stream, I was able to channel all of these tiles into being and create a tool for myself that I can use in the future. I'm looking for that one, this one. And because this tile came out, because of the energies that this tile represents, I had to go to the chat. Thanks for the streaming. Without streaming this storm, I wouldn't be able to channel all of this. I wouldn't be able to tune into that storm and get all of this downloads into the physical form. This tile is called Passing Cars, and it represents people who are passing next to you. The stream was a little bit glitching due to the storm. The signal wasn't really the clearest. So in one moment I was seeing there was a road and the cars were passing one next to another. And then there was a glitch. And then 1 second after, the same space but different cars and the school bus showed up in exactly the same space where these previous cars were. Which showed me how, let's say this is you, you're being on your path, you're walking somewhere, you're traveling somewhere, and somebody's passing next to you. And that somebody can either signify an unlived aspect of you yet, that might have an energy frequency that just by passing next to you can change your energy frequency. You don't have to know anything about this person, because it's not about perceiving them intellectually or anyhow. It's about feeling the energy of their presence and how it influences you. An example for that is when I was much younger and I lived in another country, I've seen somebody waiting a tram while I was in the tram, and the energy of that person stayed with me, so that later I noticed that while I was choosing the color of my nail polish and while I was choosing how am I styling my hair and so on, the energy of that person played a role in making my decisions. Back then I had no conceptual understanding of anything going on. I just noticed that this particular person had an influence on me that was very much unspoken and unfiltered and uncategorized. It was just there. And now, many years later, I can look back and see that although that person was and remained a stranger and I know nothing about her, it seems to me from the future now that she carried codes of my future self, and she was aligning me with her energy towards my future. In the same way, this also implies on whatever you are doing on yourself, for yourself, whether it's anyhow spiritual, energetic, whatever. You might just be, committing to yourself in whatever simplest, the most raw, grounded form possible, that you wouldn't even say for yourself that you're working on yourself or clearing your energy or whatever. If you're doing something to make yourself feel good about yourself, you can also shift other people's energy without anybody knowing anything about what you're doing. So even if you just commit every day to have a glass of water with cucumbers in the morning, I don't know, that just came to me. And then that makes you feel good about yourself, and then you find yourself being on a train station with a lot of other people and you're just passing through the crowd. Somebody might pick up on that energetically simply by feeling you. You might pass next to somebody and just leave an energetical imprint and affect other people You can shift energies of other people even if they know nothing about you. They don't need your follower count and they don't need your bank account state. They don't need you making videos about how to make 6 figures a month. You just need to exist, and that's enough sometimes to really shift the energy around you in a way that is unspoken to you back. And now I'm coming to the main point of this tile, and that is that it speaks about unspoken love. Love that is not being mirrored back to you in words. Love that you don't know about, but it's undeniably there. So I'm going to explain it from your point of view. Just notice how much music are you listening on a daily basis with pleasure that you choose for yourself, and how much art you interact with, or how much content you consume. How many videos do you watch? And how many content creators are you actually interacting with without subscribing to their channel, without liking their content, without sharing their content, without giving them any clue that they exist within your reality? That's the unspoken love that I'm talking about. Because sometimes you can count, I bet from your own experience, the people who had the most impact on you, you did not go to those people and tell them, hey, thank you for making an impact on me. That's the unspoken love that I'm talking about. And same goes for you if you're doing something that is supposed to have an impact on other, but you're not getting any type of a feedback back. The impact is still in the space. It is still happening. It just may not be verbalized back to you. For whatever reason, sometimes people just don't want to. People sometimes just don't want to. There could be a million reasons why you don't know that you actually had an impact. When you consider this tile a little bit longer, you come to the point of realization that all is full of love. Literally every single object that is around you is created out of love, even if it was mass produced for the benefit of financial gain. It is still here for you so that you can live your life with that object. It is here to support you, and the support is love. So every object, every building, every structure of anything, every person around you, because even if somebody shows you negative attention, that they don't like you, they don't like what you're doing, they don't resonate with you, they're still giving you attention. And you can always use that for your own benefit. Even if you find yourself in situations that are challenging, those challenges are always there for you, so that you can choose, do you want to give your power and your energy to something that disempowers you? Or do you want to choose and decide for yourself, what is it that you represent, what is it that you stand for, what is it that you do, you are, and use the negativity as something that is there to empower you and test the strength of your character. It's like children outside. Living in a noisy city actually is an impossibly annoying situation to be, that also comes as a test of strength of your character. How well focused and grounded and centered within yourself you are. Because when I'm really focused within myself and when I'm really centered, anything can happen. I don't give a shit. It's not that I don't give a shit, I know this, but I don't let it disturb me. But sometimes it's so fucking loud. And sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes it's really a lot. It's a lot, and sometimes it really brings me to this breaking point of just wanting to leave from here, which is valid, and I am going to leave eventually. But it also just reminds me, where do I stand within myself? If I see myself and my state of being as a space that looks kind of like this, and there is a pendulum swing inside, I can go from I don't want to be here because it's too loud into I don't give a fucking shit anymore. There's also somehow the middle here where I can stand here and all the noise can happen as a proof of how still within myself I am. This style also speaks about being kind to strangers, because some of the people you're interacting with on a stranger basis are actually angels that are being sent to you, or even if they're not angels. I personally like to believe, take that as it resonates, this is not something that I claim as the ultimate truth. Use your discernment. But I like to believe that all the living beings that are orbiting around you, whether they be people or animals or plants, they all have a little camera on themselves, and they all look at you so that you can look back at yourself when the time comes that you receive the access of universal seeing instead of personal individual seeing that you have through your own physical vessel. So basically, everybody is you. Everybody is you watching yourself, for the record. The lines between the lanes where the dots are moving are also not fully solid, which also calls for empathy and compassion, because you never know when you're going to find yourself in the position of somebody else. You may see somebody as completely the opposite of you, and you may hold some resistance towards them because they seem to have completely different lifestyle, different ideas and values, and stand like an opposite of what you're standing for. But you never know when in life you may actually find yourself in their position. Just like you can shift timelines any moment, you can also become that person that you don't really look nicely upon. And again, it's just you. And you are them living through another body, and vice versa, and vice versa. Basically, this style is calling you to pay attention to people that are around you, that are unintentionally creating the fabric of your existence. So pay attention to people who co-create your life, especially if you're an artist of any kind. Pay attention to people that happen to be there at the time when you are collecting your inspiration and the reasons why you're doing and what you're doing and putting it all into the artwork that you're creating. There are people who are not necessarily part of your crew or your family or your friend group, not those that you would credit at the end, but they're still here contributing and playing a crucial role in what is it that you're creating. And maybe give thanks. Another thing that I see from this tile is an image of tree. And if you're around trees, then you can also pay attention and notice how trees sometimes have eyes. It's the place where I don't even know how do they get eyes, but some trees do have eyes. I don't know if it's branches that are being cut off and then there's an eye. That I personally also sometimes take as a sign that from the other realm somebody is watching. Not in a stalking kind of a way, but in you're not alone type of a way. That's it for now. I'm calling upon the silence of my neighbors in the city, although I do take the challenge of centering myself amidst the noise. This collection of tiles that I can't even call a deck because I can't shuffle them. But this art collection, should I call it art collection? Tile collection, tile art collection, Storm Oracle, Red, Black and White Storm Oracle. I'm going to offer as a limited edition oracle that I am willing to do again and again for several of you who decide to get it for yourself. There will be no commercial sale, no scanning, reprinting, and selling all over the planet. I'm pretty much going to do it individually, uniquely, originally, with my hands and with my... Oh, that I forgot to show you. There's also a little scroll that has names of all the cards, and I'm still working on the little book that actually has the guidance and meaning of all the cards. So I will soon make it available for you to get one if you want.